There's something in the forests, and as always, these stories, they come from a friend. I've always preferred to go for a run early in the morning before the sun comes up. It's more refreshing for me that way. There are less people, less vehicles, and less distractions. But there's been something bothering me lately. I've noticed that some of the tree roots have moved. I usually wake up at around 3 a.m. due to the train outside of where I live. It saves me from buying an alarm, and I've never had restful nights anyway. I run along the train tracks, staying a good distance from the side roads and following them well into the nearby forests. Not a soul stays in those forests, not with the strange history surrounding the area. I've never cared for ghost stories, so I paid them no mind. Not until I started tripping over the roots and branches. There's usually nothing near the tracks after the train passes ahead of me. The first night, I tripped and nearly hit my head on the tracks. I thought it was just a fallen branch, but it was stuck too deep in the ground for me to move. When the next morning came, I went back out to the same spot and noticed that the root seemed to be further out of the ground. I ignored it and made sure to step high enough to not trip this time. However, I fell flat on my face and my ankles slammed together. The roots had wrapped around my legs and began to slowly drag me towards the opposite end. As it stepped out of the dark, I saw something lock eyes with me. Its eyes were a piercing white, and its four limbs were tree trunks shattering out of the ground. I clawed and pulled myself on the ground to escape as its tail dragged me closer, but stopped long before I got to the tree line. What sounded like a deep, rhythmic growl came from the figure. The bark below its mouth split open into a sap-filled smile as its laughter was soon drowned by the train horn. It was 3:30 a.m. Another train was coming, and its tail was keeping me on the tracks. I barely managed to escape by slipping out of my shoes. Crawling backwards off the tracks, I watched as the creature's laughter was cut short by the sounds of its roots pulling up from the ground. Each step it took towards me shook the ground. It gave a horrific scream, like the sounds of a dying animal, just before the train caught up to me. The last thing I saw was the monster's twisted form blanketed in the headlights of the train, showing a mass of mangled bodies bound together by contorted vines. When the train slammed into the beast, I blinked and found myself awake in bed, breathing a sigh of relief. I fell back believing it was only a dream, until I rubbed my ankles and winced at the fresh bruises around them.